Good morning, everyone. What a privilege it is to again be here with you for our weekly Meaningful Moments Parental Perspective. Truly, you all are the inspiration for such meaningful moments like today. And it is my hope, as always, that these words will inspire you as you begin this week and continue on in a path of accomplishment, a path of inspiration, and a path of engagement. I saw a billboard yesterday that talked about the real superheroes. And very often we rehearse in the ears and in front of the eyes of our children what a superhero looked like. This week, I'm hopeful that you reintroduce them to another superhero, that you provide them an opportunity to meet a superhero in their own vicinity. And that's you. You are all superheroes. The way that you have engaged, taken on the responsibility, and ensured success must be attributed to superhero powers. So today, we would like to present to you, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet someone who, through inspiration, despite trials, difficulties, and sometimes even hindrances, have been so successful, so impactful, and of course, you've been so inspirational. So today, we would like to communicate. It's a pleasure to meet you. Meet is defined as to come into the presence of or company of someone by chance or by intentional arrangement. Many of us have gotten to meet versions of ourselves that we may or may not have known existed. This new normal, our new reality, has forced us to confront some situations and some circumstances that we may have thought we weren't ready for, or because we had never experienced them, did not have a plan to execute and work through them. However, something incredible happened. We got a chance to meet the version of ourselves that more and is more than capable to not only deal and address it, but to succeed. So it's only appropriate that we proclaim, it is so nice to meet this you. M is going to stand for maintain. E is examine. The second E is evoke. And T stands for transfer. One thing is for sure, no matter what was the result of this meeting, of this version of you, we are so happy that we got a chance to see it. M, maintain. Maintain is defined as to cause or enable a condition or state of affairs to continue. It's the recognition that something great is now on the scene. And it's the commitment to every effort necessary to continue the furtherance of what has been seen. Again, we did not receive advance notice for the need for the new us to show up. Many of us might have been dealing with, I need something new. I need to become something new. I can't wait to see another version of me. But I think we would all agree that what we've been experiencing and what we were exposed to was not anything we had ever planned. But look how wonderful this new version of you has maintained. And maybe it's not a new version of you, but rather the version of you that was always needed, always desired to come forward, but needed that impetus, needed that push, needed to be infused with the reality that I must show up, complete, dedicated, and willing to face and confront anything that has been positioned in front of me. Today, we encourage you to maintain that. Why? Because this is just the beginning. Rather than looking at this circumstance as a time where we've completed work, I want you to think of this as the time where the work, the start, the accomplishment has just begun. This is a new beginning of an opportunity to embrace all of the skills that you've been exposed to, all of the lessons that you've learned, and all of the courage that you have amassed. Truly, what could take us by surprise now? And what circumstance could we be exposed to that we won't return with positivity, accomplishment, and courage? Maintain, because this is just the beginning of great things, great experiences, and great opportunities. Also, I want you to remain and don't retreat. Sometimes it's so easy to fall back into what we used to do, the habits, the mindset, the expectations. But I want you to maintain. I want to encourage you to remember that you've uncovered greatness. And this is not the time to think about retreating to where you used to be, to retreating to the mindset of what you used to expect, or even retreating to the mindset of what you'll accept. Rather, remain. Stay in the place of encouragement. Stay in the place of continual investigation. Stay in the place of curiosity that will be dedicated to determining how I can make any circumstance I am being presented with successful. Remain dedicated to the premise that you might go through it, but you will come out of it better, stronger, eyes wide open, heart expanded, mind intrigued, and most of all, perspective gained. Maintain what you've learned during this time. Don't retreat to the former version of your mindset, of your capacities, of your limitations, but maintain what you've learned about you, because it's so nice to meet this version of you. E, examine. Examine is defined as to inspect someone or something in detail or in greater detail to determine their nature or condition. It's to investigate thoroughly. This version of you has efficiencies, has talent, and has so much to offer that you've only cracked the surface. As we said, this is just the beginning. So take intentional time to become familiar with what this new normal means and who this new you is in this new normal. Take an opportunity to take account of what you've learned, what you've amassed, what talents are now under your belt. This is a new version of you. And if I might submit, I think it's better than the 2.0 version. Because you have been put in challenges and circumstances that have resulted in a version of you that is ready for every future success. So take the time to learn about this new you in this new normal. Make your circumstances reflect the changes that have happened inwardly. Don't retreat to other people's opinions, expectations, but continue to seek what you have learned in this new normal. Become familiar with what you've understood is now a new driving force. Take note of the ways in which you've been successful that seem out of the box or not just the ordinary. Take an opportunity to celebrate all that you've uncovered about yourself. I think you know that you've been spectacular, but now we've reached levels of extraordinary. And don't take for granted the things that you've learned. Identify, this is who I realize I am, how I realize I can be successful, how I realize I am driven, and how I realize I must do this to maintain. Think about what you used in those crucial times, in those crucial days, maybe those crucial hours that brought you past being stumped and discouraged to being successful and succeeding. Take full account of this new you. And secure the lessons that have been learned. I always share that every experience in life is a lesson. Some more expensive than others, but in every circumstance, we glean something that we needed for our next level. Secure the lessons that you have learned during this time. Transfer them so that your children and everyone that's connected to you doesn't have to repeat them to gain the same knowledge. Make them embedded in your interaction, in the legacy of what you leave for learning. Take these experiences and help them to mold you into someone that now exists. It is so nice to meet this version of you. And this version of you comes with efficiencies that are not only for you, not only for the wonderful people that depend on you as their parents, but for the village, for the community that is connected. Secure those lessons so we can build on them. Because as we know, when we don't learn our history, we are destined to repeat it. Take the lessons that have come from this time and make them embedded in your expectations, in your conversations, and most of all in your commitment. What have you learned about you? What have you uncovered about you? But most of all, what are you going to do to ensure this you keeps showing up? It is such a privilege and so nice to meet this version of you. Our second E is to evoke. Evoke means to bring or recall to the conscious mind. It means to put yourself in remembrance, to call upon, or to depend on the thing that was used for you to be successful in that moment of time. We just spoke about securing the lessons of this time. But I want you to be transparent with yourself in evoking the memories, the messages, the sentiments, and the emotions that have happened during this time. Remind yourself of how success took on new meanings in a different environment, with different resources, but with an even greater effect. Evoke, bring to mind what you took, what you depended on, what you incorporated to be successful. And don't ever let anyone limit you again to believe that only a certain formula will be successful. Instead, you have redefined the answer. You identified another path, if you would. True, it might be the path that's seldom selected, but you've turned it into a gateway of accomplishment. Evoke those emotions. Evoke those feelings. Evoke those thoughts that you overcame thinking that this wouldn't be possible or that it was destined for disaster, and meet the new you that has accomplished. Evoking allows you to build off of these experiences. Take them as foundation and use them to gain additional knowledge. Bring to mind when you felt frustrated or defeated, and then apply the thought process, the dedication that it took to get past that point and build on it from there. There should be nothing else that can discourage you. Even things that take you by surprise have not been given the ability to limit your success. Build off of what you've learned, off of what you've uncovered about yourself, about your children, about your support system, about your environment. You've been given an opportunity that most don't have, which is to take introspection about where you are and what you depend on, and how putting them together results in success. Evoke those things. Hold on to those things and allow those things to be the inspiration for your next success. Finally, rely on them to never be stopped or never to be halted again. When you feel concerned or strained or despondent that this will work or that I'll be able to do this, evoke those feelings of, I am already successful. I have already accomplished so much. Don't allow anything to make you believe that you have to return to the space that this is not possible. Evoke the emotions that you used when they limited what you were used to, and you still had to find a way to be successful. And remind you that you've become teachers' aides, school cafeteria people, school administrators, doctors, restaurateurs, hostess and servers, operations managers, community liaisons, bankers, accountants, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. You have taken on so many hats and wore them with pride and success. Evoke those emotions to remind yourself that I've already been in a place where I never expected to be, that I bear the success that shows that in any circumstance, I can bring out success. It is so nice to meet this version of you. And don't you let this version retreat. Build on what you've learned and demand of yourself that that level of success always show up. Finally, T is to transfer. Move from one place to another. Don't just leave the lessons in this pandemic. Don't just leave them as a result of being home. Don't leave them as a sign to March or April, but transfer them from generation to generation. You've created more legacy during this time, and this is the substance that those that depend on you need. Transfer the message of there's no stopping you because you've learned that. Transfer the message that as long as we're together, we can make it because you've proved that. Transfer the message that there is nothing that can take us off guard because we will reinvent ourselves, reinvent our resources, and show up every time for success. Transfer what you've learned and don't allow any new day to begin or to be accomplished without incorporation of what you have gained. So I want you to relocate from that old perspective. There are a lot of I can't that should now be removed from your language. Your vocabulary should no longer be limited by the things you cannot do, but rather it should be expanded by all the things you've learned that you can. Relocate away from the perspective of, well, I don't have the time, because we've learned that you can find the time. Relocate away from the only if this happens will I be successful. Because how many of these thises have we lived without, and yet we've reached levels of success that have far outweighed others that we've done? Transfer the quality of what is quality. Allow reiteration of the things that mean the most and what the true resources for success are. That they don't lie in other people's perspectives, in buildings that we have to be allowed entrance into, or opportunities to continue the ordinary. Rather, they are the undiscovered talent, the consistency and dedication to hard work, and the love that holds together the glue. That we know it's not just about us, and that every success for today is building tomorrow's future for those who we love. Transfer those things that you've gained and make them available every new day to everyone connected to you, because they will be part of the solution of your future and success. Remember not to lose what you've learned. Don't put it away. Don't tuck it in a place that you don't visit. Keep it ever before you as a reminder of what you can accomplish when you are asked to step up. It is so nice to meet this version of you. And true, while we wouldn't have ever believed, and maybe would have never signed up to learn this version of us because of the circumstances, it was necessary that you come forth. It was necessary that you come into contact with this new you. It was necessary that we be given the privilege to meet this new you, because there is so much still for you to accomplish. It is so nice to meet this version of you. Be encouraged to maintain what you have learned, to examine what's put before you, not in fear, but in confidence that this too will be part of the legacy of my success. Remember to evoke the things that bring you to the frame of mind necessary to stay focused on the challenges before you and the success that awaits you. And finally, make them transferable. Allow everyone to whom you are dedicated, connected, or in communication with to receive what you have been provided by transference. I think it's so impactful that we've learned what transference can do during this time. We've been reminded to wash our hands, to cover our mouth and our nose because of transference. I want to remind you that there are other incredible things that can be transferred as well. And if we use our mouth to speak greatness, and we use our eyes to see greatness, and we use our hands to share greatness, we are going to end up with multiplication of greatness. It is so nice to meet this version of you. And so as always, I leave you with this quote. It always seems impossible until it gets done. It always seems impossible until it gets done. You have turned impossibility into possibility. There should be nothing else that can ever convince you of your inability to be great. So today, tomorrow, the remainder of this week, the remainder of this year, in commitment to the rest of your days, it's so nice to meet you. And may this version of you be consistently inspired to show up. Thank you for the privilege of seeing the greatness in you come to fruition. And we look forward to all that that greatness shall accomplish. Have an incredible week, and don't forget to bring your success with you. Thank you.